A parable. Why is a Jewish boy taught to play the violin? Of course, it is wonderful if he can play the piano, the cello, or the harp. That is truly splendid. But when pogroms, expulsions, or wars broke out, the boy would tuck his little violin under his arm and travel, by ship, on foot, or by scrambling, falling and getting back up along the way. And then, when better times returned, he would play his violin again and earn his daily bread, something a grand piano could not provide. The violin, however, is a craft that will put food on your table wherever you are and whatever happens. So, alongside your formal education, you need a practical trade, the skills to play your violin with virtuosity, better than anyone else. It will sustain you and see you through the hardest times. Do you believe in the presence of a lucky break in your life? In the life and musical career of our hero, it repeatedly helped and guided a little boy who had been playing the violin since the age of 3. He was already recognized as a child prodigy by a lucky chance. His kindergarten was located next to a music boarding school for gifted children at the conservatory, whose teachers periodically visited the kindergarten in search of young talent. Arkadiy was immediately accepted into the preparatory department, where he really got his start. Or rather, he played the violin for 11 years. After graduating from school, the question arose: meteorology or the conservatory? But for the Jewish prodigy, the road to Kiev, with the conservatory closed, was once again a lucky break. A conservatory teacher advised him to apply to the Rostov Conservatory, where he was admitted without entrance. They say that a lucky break is a manifestation of good fortune, or even fate. After all, we wouldn't end up at the Rostov Conservatory. I would never have met Marina, a student in the theoretical department of the conservatory, who became his wife, his faithful friend, and the harbor he used to return from short and long tours. During his studies, like all students, he was sent to work on collective farms. He also took part in numerous concerts and competitions and served as first violinist in the conservatory's symphony orchestra. After graduating from the conservatory, he faced conscription into the army. He had already been assigned to a training unit when fate, in the form of a close relative, intervened. Quite by chance, this relative struck up a conversation with a fellow passenger on the train from Yesenchuki to Kiev and mentioned his talented violinist nephew. It turned out that this stranger had the power to transfer the young recruit to the district military band. After completing his service, he returned to Kiev, where his family lived and where Marina had also come after finishing at the conservatory. Marina began working at a music school, while Arkasha joined the music hall's symphony orchestra. He toured the entire Soviet Union and the neighboring states, but then the unexpected happened. The Soviet Union collapsed, and the tours came to an end. The music hall show closed, but the doors of the newly founded, Romance, Gypsy Theater opened. And our violinist fit perfectly into the gypsy troupe, where he mastered the nuances of gypsy folklore. He had no idea what role this experience would play in his future. Yet life was becoming harder by the moment, and the future increasingly uncertain. Once again, good fortune intervened. A beloved sister, who had moved to America 2 years earlier and endured all the hardships of those initial years, looked out for her brother and his family. An invitation for permanent residence arrived right on time, and the Gipsov family reunited in Columbus, Ohio, a place that would become their home for many years. The musical gene is a figurative expression used to describe innate musical abilities. It must be said that the environment in which Arkasha grew up was perfectly suited for his talent to blossom. The musical gene, that is, his innate musical gift, had been passed down from his grandfather Gersh, who loved and understood music and played the harmonica with virtuosity, and his grandmother Rosa. who knew and loved singing Jewish songs to her young grandson. Arkash's father, Abram Grigorievich, received an excellent musical education, possessed absolute pitch, and played multiple instruments during the war. He served as an aircraft maintenance technician at a military airfield, where he formed a musical ensemble and toured combat units performing concerts. He is the one in the center of the photo holding a violin. The musical lineage did not end there. The family tradition continues with Maxim. In addition to drawing and working with computer graphics, Maxim plays several instruments in various ensembles and composes his own music in a modern style. Arkash's parents, Sofia Abramovna and Abram Grigorievich, did everything possible to ensure his talent did not wither while he was still in school. They gave him an Italian violin, which he brought with him to America. He also brought a valuable legacy from his grandparents: a love for and understanding of klezmer music, an important part of Jewish culture performed at weddings and holidays. It was here in Columbus, with the support of the Jewish community and Shalom Unity Columbus, that he was able to realize his dream, sharing the beauty of Jewish melodies with modern audiences and reviving klezmer music by harnessing his full musical potential. 10 years later, a theatrical musical performance based on the true stories of emigrants, conceived and scripted by Arkadiy Gips, came to the stage as part of his long-term vision. Arkadiy is on stage with his friends from the conservatory, violinists Oleg, of the Florida State Symphony Orchestra, and Vladimir Krakovich, of the Indiana State Symphony Orchestra, who traveled specifically to support their friend in this project, which is very important to him. Arkadiy's first ensemble was formed during his early years in America, thanks to Mara's outgoing nature, organizational talent, and immense desire to help her brother find his place in the American music scene. By a stroke of luck, the mother of a student at the school where Mara worked turned out to be a professional singer. Lyudmila Smirnova, together with pianist Roman Zuravlev, they formed the Amazing Trio. The first performance took place at Temple Beth Shalom, which kindly provided its stage. Tours across America and Canada brought them into the spotlight, particularly the tour with the theatrical production of Fiddler on the Roof, during which the renowned American actor Theodore Bikel, celebrated for his definitive portrayal of Tevi the Dairyman, was thoroughly captivated by their performance. The culmination of years of touring was the 2005 release of a CD featuring a collection of klezmer and Jewish melodies and songs. Let me introduce Arkadiy Gips, a virtuoso of Balkan and Slavic folk music and a magnificent player of the 7-string and 12-string guitar, pictured on the right. Having gained experience touring Europe with gypsy ensembles, he joined an internationally acclaimed group, a connection made after a recommendation from a violinist who had met him by chance. The group toured refugee camps in Croatia, Hungary, and Slovakia, eventually concluding the tour in the war-torn center of Sarajevo. Later, Arkadiy and Neil formed the trio American Gypsy, inviting bassist Stephen Fox, who was well-versed in African music, to join them. Their sound was rooted in American music, incorporating elements of Appalachian folklore and Irish, Scottish, and English traditions. This new ensemble transformed gypsy music, jazz, and world folk traditions into a new form of American music. And the CD American Gypsy was nominated for Album of the Year at the Independent Music Awards. A shared love for klezmer, gypsy, and Balkan music, along with a talent for musical interplay and improvisation, brought together pianist and composer Mikhail Popov and Arkadiy Gips. This magnificent duo released the album Dialogue in 1999, featuring a collection of jazz improvisations based on traditional and classical Jewish melodies. Wasn't it a stroke of luck that brought Arkadiy to New York for an audition with Madonna, the Queen of Pop, who was recruiting violinists for her Sticky and Sweet World Tour? Arkadiy became the lead violinist for the show's Gypsy-themed segment. Performing as part of the Kolpakov Trio, he played the instrumental piece, Dolly Dolly, and other tracks, infusing the show with authentic gypsy melodies and ethnic flair.
Hey, that's a girl.
85 performances took place at stadiums and large venues across 31 countries in Europe, South America, and North America, with 3.5 million tickets sold. This two-year tour, 2008-2009, defined Arkadiy's life and future. In addition to Arkadiy, the Kolpakov Trio included Alexander Kolpakov, a member of a renowned musical dynasty of virtuoso gypsy guitarists who served as the musical director of the Roman theater for a quarter of a century, and his nephew, Vadim Kolpakov, a Russian-American guitarist and one of the few contemporary virtuosos of the seven-string Russian guitar. For many years, Arkadiy and Vadim have showcased gypsy music at concerts and festivals across the United States and Canada. Featuring a signature style defined by intricate rhythms and traditional gypsy flair, here is one of their rehearsals. Arkadiy shares a long history of performing with Alex in their duo. Their virtuoso violin and guitar technique, blending the rhythms of Argentine tango, Brazilian music, and flamenco with modern jazz and Jewish roots, gave rise to remarkable improvisations that formed the foundation of an album recognized as the best acoustic release of 2016. In 2004, Alex formed the group Bioromi, which, along with Arkadiy, performed at various concerts and festivals. Events included a gala concert featuring theater and film actress Rada Shaninova, a trip to Singapore, and a tour of Israel with Svetlana Peryanskaya. Incidentally, Arkadiy met Svetlana Portnyanskaya, a popular Russian-American Jewish solo singer, thanks to a woman who happened to be organizing her concerts in Columbus. Svetlana had arrived without an accompanist. Just before her first number, Arkadiy appeared on stage with his violin and began to accompany her. His ability to instantly, and without rehearsal, become perfectly in sync with the performer, whatever the piece, initially surprised Svetlana and then won her admiration. Mira and Arcadia moved to Columbus, the hometown of Eric Necht, creator and host of the popular American TV program Songs and the Sender, to settle permanently. Eric is also an award-winning singer and songwriter. Getting to know him and admiring his musical talent opened up great opportunities for Arcadia to pursue numerous collaborative projects.
We hear so much about our heroes and how today they always seem to let us down. But every now and then we find somebody who reminds us that a few are still around. True heroes are remembered for how they live each day. True heroes are measured by what they give away.
Mira played an active role in organizing projects related to Arkadiy's performances at concerts and festivals across various venues and levels, including her own interviews on local television. I would like to wish Arkadiy, that wonderful, creative talent, new encounters, new projects, and, of course, good fortune. In other words, that very special stroke of luck.